You wake up every morning believing that control is safety. That if you can just plan well enough, anticipate every detail, and prepare for every possible outcome, you'll finally feel secure. You write lists. You double-check everything. You tell yourself, if I can just keep things in order, then maybe I won't fall apart. But underneath that effort is a quiet truth. You're not chasing control because you're disciplined, you're chasing it because you're afraid. Afraid of failure. Afraid of uncertainty. Afraid that if you let life unfold on its own, it might not love you back. And so, you grip harder. You tighten your hold on everything, your work, your relationships, your emotions, your image. You start believing that safety comes from control, and peace comes from order. But no matter how perfectly you plan, something always slips through. Because life isn't designed to be held, it's designed to move. And the moment you try to hold still what's meant to flow, it begins to break. Control gives the illusion of strength, but in truth, it's a disguise for fear. You're not anxious because you've lost control. You're anxious because you're trying to hold what was never yours to begin with. Every act of control carries weight. The weight of fear. The weight of overthinking. The weight of trying to manage what's unmanageable: people, timing, outcomes, emotions. You live with this quiet heaviness. The kind that doesn't scream, but hums under your skin every day. It shows up as tension in your shoulders. A tightness in your chest. A restlessness that keeps you awake at 2 a.m. You scroll through your thoughts like channels on a TV. Trying to find the one that will give you peace. But every channel just leads back to noise. You tell yourself you're just being responsible. That control means stability. But in truth, it's exhausting to constantly play life's puppeteer. Because the moment you think you've mastered one piece of the puzzle, another one slips away. And suddenly, you're chasing again. You try to control your image. So you never seem weak. You try to control your relationships. So you never feel rejected. You try to control your future. So you never face regret. But in doing all of that, you lose the present. You stop feeling joy, because joy doesn't fit neatly into your plans. You stop feeling alive, because life no longer feels like discovery, only management. And so, your days become an endless loop of fixing, adjusting, micromanaging. As if life were a machine that might break if you looked away. But life isn't a machine. It's a tide. And the tighter you grip it, the more it slips through your fingers. Eventually, the illusion cracks. Something happens, a plan fails, a person leaves, a dream collapses. And suddenly, you're face to face with the one thing control can't protect you from. Reality. You feel it in your chest, the panic, the resistance, the disbelief. This wasn't supposed to happen. You try to fight it. You replay every step, searching for what you could have done differently. But no matter how much you analyze, you can't rewrite what's unfolding. The storm has arrived, and your grip means nothing here. You want to scream. To bargain with fate. To make it all make sense. But storms don't care for explanations, they only teach surrender. Because storms aren't punishments. They're teachers. They remind you that peace doesn't live in predictability. It lives in trust. You can't stop the rain. You can only choose how you stand in it. Maybe control isn't your armor after all, maybe it's your anchor. The thing that's been holding you still when life has been calling you to move. Maybe the storm isn't destroying you. Maybe it's freeing you. Maybe it's washing away the illusion that you ever had to control everything to be okay. We grow up believing that control equals success. That perfection equals peace. That if we can make our lives look seamless, we'll finally feel safe in them. But perfection isn't peace, it's pressure. It's the voice that whispers. You're not allowed to rest until everything looks right. It's the reason you hide your struggles. Why you overwork. Why you never feel good enough even when you win. Because perfection doesn't love you, it only uses you. It tells you that if you just work harder, you'll finally be worthy. And so you chase that worth through control. Through achievement, through image, through constant effort. But deep down, you know the truth. No amount of control will ever fill the emptiness that only self-acceptance can heal. You think perfection will save you from chaos. But chaos isn't your enemy, it's your teacher. It's the reminder that you are human. And being human means being messy, uncertain, and still enough. Perfection is just control dressed in confidence. It promises you peace while stealing your ability to feel it. So stop trying to be flawless. Be real. Be uncertain. Be alive. Because the beauty of life isn't in its precision, it's in its unpredictability. Then there comes a day. Quiet, unplanned. When you simply can't fight anymore. You're tired. Not the kind of tired that sleep can fix. But the kind of tired that comes from carrying everything on your own. And in that stillness, something inside you whispers. What if I just stopped trying to control it all? So, for the first time, you breathe, fully, deeply. You unclench your fists. You stop resisting. And you let life be. That's when you realize that surrender isn't giving up. It's coming home. It's the release of the illusion that you were ever in charge of everything. It's the freedom that comes from trusting what you can't predict. When you surrender, the world doesn't fall apart. It realigns. You start noticing things again. The way light moves across the room. The way silence suddenly feels like music. The way uncertainty no longer feels like danger, but discovery. And in that moment, you understand that peace was never lost. It was just buried beneath all your effort to control it. Once you stop forcing life, you begin to feel its rhythm again. You see that everything has timing, not your timing, but the timing. That even the moments you once called failures were just steps toward becoming who you needed to be. You stop trying to fix people, you listen to them. You stop trying to predict outcomes, you experience them. You stop trying to avoid mistakes, you learn from them. Life becomes lighter, not because it got easier, but because you stopped fighting its nature. You start to move with the current instead of against it. You learn to dance with the uncertainty instead of fearing it. Because control wants guarantees. But flow only asks for trust. When you trust the flow, you realize that uncertainty isn't punishment, it's possibility. It's where love begins. It's where creativity blooms. It's where life truly happens. You no longer need to hold everything. You simply hold yourself, steady, calm, open. And that's when you discover something powerful. You were never meant to master the storm. You were meant to find your rhythm inside it. So here you are, standing in the rain. Not fighting. Not fearing. Just feeling. The rain falls softly against your skin. Each drop whispering the same truth. You were never meant to control the storm. Only to learn how to stand in it. You realize now that control was never strength, it was survival. And you don't need to survive anymore. You're allowed to live. You don't need to predict tomorrow to trust today. You don't need to fix everything to be at peace. You don't need to hold on to what's passing. You just need to honor what's present. Because peace doesn't come from power. It comes from presence. The more you let go, the more life reveals itself to you, not as something to manage, but as something to marvel at. And as the rain begins to slow, you realize that maybe peace was never about control at all. Maybe it was about finally allowing yourself to be uncertain, imperfect, and free.